contestant going forward is for the WWE Championship.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Welcome to Around the Turnbuckle. I'm the Big Alboski. That guy right there is Professor Keith, as always. And joining us is referee Mike Rodriguez. What's up, Michael?
Not a whole lot, guys. How are you guys today?
We're fabulous. We want to know how you're doing because we're coming right off of the SWO 22nd Anniversary Extravaganza, which you were a major part of. You refereed, to my knowledge, 4 matches, I think. Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
3, 4.
3 or 4 matches. So how are you feeling a day after a show? From a referee's perspective.
I feel great, and it was a great show, top to bottom. Not a bad match on the card. Everybody gave it 110%, and the crowd went home happy.
Somebody that was there last night is here. That's Andy. What's up, Andy? Yo, SWO for life, man.
How's it going,
I want to give
Andy?
a big shout out, Mike, before we get started with you. I want to give a huge shout out to David Motorman and Vicious Van Valley for the newest inductees into the SWO Hall of Fame. So big shout out to you guys. Congratulations from us at Around the Turnbuckle. That's an amazing thing. Professor, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Very well deserved. Both two very, very deserving inductees. I think one of them even left us a message.
He absolutely did, as he always does. And it is tonight. I'm excited to hear the story of my friend, Referee Mike. Always a joy to chat and share a laugh at intermission at our happy place. And of course, in the ring, we have to yell, boo, new ref.
Thank you so much, David. I appreciate all the kind words and the support.
Congratulations, Dave. Absolutely.
Wouldn't have it any other way. And definitely huge congratulations to you on your SWO Hall of Fame induction. Very well deserved. And also huge shout out and want to say congratulations to Vicious Van Valley as well. Also well deserved. And it was awesome seeing them.
I saw his post after the event on Facebook. And if you guys haven't seen that, I urge you to go to his Facebook page and check it out. He might have even shared it on the SWO page too. Obviously, he was overwhelmed by that moment. He didn't know until he got there that he was going in, which is pretty cool. Neither did Dave, for that matter, which was also pretty cool. But big shout out to both those guys. Awesome achievement. So great event last night. So for you as a referee, and we'll get into how you started, and we'll go back to the beginning and all that kind of stuff. But for you as a referee, because we've talked to guys the day after a show, and most of the time they're pretty banged up. They took a few rough hits or rough bumps or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so, their perspective is one thing. But after a show, and me, I can tell you as the ring announcer, I couldn't speak this morning. You're lucky I have a voice at all today. But which, my wife was happy about, but, it wouldn't have worked for Around the Turnbuckle. But for you, Mike, as a referee, how do you feel the day after a show? And is it different every show, or it depends on what goes down? Or because I know you guys are the most unsung heroes in the wrestling business. You guys control the action in the ring. You guys can call matches when you see them called. Keith and I have met enough referees to know that if you count 3, you count 3. That's not their fault. That's you counted 3. You know what I'm saying? Match is over. And also, you have to know where you are in the ring, all that cool stuff. And we'll get into all that. But How do you feel today, the day after, like physically?
Physically, I'm tired. I mean that in like a good way. I don't mean that in like, I'm complaining about it, because honestly I love being out there. But yeah, like you definitely need some cardio when you're out there reffing, especially when you're out there multiple times a night, and the match lengths go different amounts. So sometimes you could be out there, 8 to 10 minutes at a pop, or 12 to 15, or even more, depending on, the match type, or, main event, like basically card placement. But yeah, like I'm generally tired in a good way, little legs are a little sore from, running and sliding all the time,
Right.
shoulders are, a little tired out from having to count. But other than that, I generally feel pretty great. It's almost like the equivalent to like going on a really long jog, like that runner's adrenaline kind of sort of thing. I'm literally still riding the adrenaline rave from last night.
Absolutely. Dave's got another comment in here for us, Professor. He says, "Thank you, Big Al, Professor, Mike, and the SWO family. Love y'all. We need to get Mike to call us inside the squared circle." Yes. Mike, in case you're unaware, on Wednesday nights, Dave and the Wolfman host Inside the Squared Circle, and they have a phone number you can call live. And they broadcast that on Facebook, but also on WNEP local television. So you might want to check that out on Wednesdays. I believe it starts at 6 and they go to like 7:30. Usually they show like SWO highlights or sometimes full matches from the past or from the recent past. But also they love having SWO guys like yourself call in and just chat about SWO. So I mean, you might want to give them a try on Wednesdays.
All right, definitely. I will definitely keep that in mind. You said it's Wednesdays at 6 o'clock.
Wednesdays at 6. If you go to
Wolf,
if you're friends with Wolfman, on Facebook, you can just go to his page and it'll be right on there live. You just click on there live, and the phone number comes up. You call it. You can kind of tell when to call, because if he's on the phone with somebody, it's pointless because you're going to get a busy signal. But if he, once he hangs up with somebody, you can call, you can jump right in, and they would love to have you. I know that. And you can talk to Dave directly and Wolfman directly live on Facebook and talk about refereeing. I don't know the last time, other than maybe Zach Carlucci, that called into that show in recent memory. But anyway, let's talk about you. Well, before we talk about you, we got a comment from a gentleman you may know named Ace Dallas.
Oh, okay.
And he's here, and he says Mike is a great and genuine individual. He's always willing to learn, grow, and give his best effort during all his matches. Thank you, Mike, for everything you do.
Nate is such a teacher.
He's a teacher. But that's what he does.
Overwhelmed, honestly. I love Nate. I really do. I got nothing bad
How
to say
can you
about
not,
him. He's
right?
always helped me grow. He has helped me learn in so many ways. And honestly, between like Nate and a lot of the other guys in the back, but definitely especially Nate, Van Valley, and it's also honorable and huge mention to Zach Carlucci. Like a lot of them have definitely helped me find my way and, help me, more importantly, gain my confidence out there. And they have all taught me so many things in so many different ways, and words really can't express how much I appreciate every single person back there. And I love the SWO family, love the SWO faithful.
I can't echo that any louder since I've come on board as the ring announcer. Nobody's done more for me than Nate, and I appreciate him and everything he does and continues to do for me, and everybody else that's given me advice. And a huge shout out last night to Corey Cross and Mark Mest, who were part of the show last night in the back. Behind the scenes, they both offered me a lot of advice, both before and after the show was over. So I really appreciate those two gentlemen. Also, Corey Cross gave me the bow tie. That anybody noticed I was wearing that bow tie? That was the first time I ever wore a bow tie in my life. Well, maybe when I got married, I had one on. I don't remember. Okay. But anyway, why did you jump into professional wrestling? Somewhere along the line, it clicked for you. Were you a kid, or did it naturally come, or were you a fan for the longest time and you're like, I want to do this? When did that happen for you?
Honestly, wrestling has always been there for me ever since I can remember. Even when I was a kid, my mom used to watch back in the day, and like I have memories of sitting up, watching Monday Night Raw, back in the day with my mom, my older brother, my dad when he was home, he worked nights and everything. So like actually watching Raw with my dad was a treat back in the day. But yeah, I've always been a fan. I've always wanted to be a part of the industry. I think the moment that really started to captivate me and made me like really want to get on the path to being in the industry was because I was a very big Bret Hart fan growing up. So WrestleMania 13, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret Hart in the submission match.
Sure.
That's the moment that, like, not only because Stone Cold Steve Austin's my favorite wrestler of all time, but like it was that match, and it was that moment where I was like, 6, 7 years old, and I was like, all right, I'm decided at some point in my life, I'm getting into it.
So talk about that, because a lot of guys don't know. Like the guy, there's a couple guys that actually came up to us and asked us where to go at one of the 3WA shows that Keith and I were calling. Talk about that. Where did you seek training, or who did you talk to? Did you know anybody that was already in the business and maybe could help you out?
I had a couple friends that knew a couple friends, and like my journey into it is definitely different because I had started when I was like a senior in high school. I got permission from my parents to start training, and I knew a friend who knew a trainer up in Massachusetts by the name of Chris Frank. So I trained under him for a while, learned how to take bumps, learned how to run the ropes, learned how to do things safely. And I didn't take like too many bookings at first, because about the time that like I got done, I was already enrolled in college. So, I gave the college thing a try for a while. And then being like 19, 20 years old, I found myself working 2 jobs, getting an apartment, getting a car, and basically fast forward like 9-10 years, my friend Don was booking for SWO, and they needed a referee, so he made the call, asked if I was interested, because like he knew that I had the training and had like some light experience, and he wanted to see if I wanted to give my hand at reffing. And without even taking a breath to think about it, I said absolutely. And then started learning at SWO, met Zach Carlucci, and started picking his brain, taking his guidance, taking all of his advice. And honestly, me as a referee, I've just been following, everything that he taught me, following his model, and I'm still picking his brain. I'm still trying to figure things out for myself as well. But like, definitely if I'm unsure, oh yeah, I always pick his brain back in the locker room. Like, he has done so much for me as a referee. And like I said earlier, he's also one of the people that helped me gain my confidence out there.
He's one of the nicest guys that you ever want to meet. Sorry, Keith.
Yeah, not to
He's
interrupt.
one of the nicest guys you ever want to meet.
Oh God, Zach is great. Zach can never retire in my mind at this point, because he's such a wonderful guy. He's a great teacher.
Absolutely.
And he's probably, I don't say best on the independents, I think he's one of the best in the game, period. Because Zach, the thing that Zach does that's so good that so many other referees I don't see do it, is Zach will not be intimidated by the wrestlers. Because let's get real, right? If you don't have a presence in there and you don't control it, they're going to try to intimidate you a little bit. They're going to walk on you a little bit and try to be like, well, I don't want to, we all know the heels have to work a little harder, because if you see the low blow, like Al said, you got to call it. If you see something legitimately you got to legitimately follow the rules. If you see something worth a disqualification, you got to disqualify them. If they're outside of the ring for a count of 10, you got to count to 10. So guys will absolutely intimidate you to make their life easier and go, yeah, but do you really want to count to 10? Do you really want to? And Zach is no bullshit. I mean, especially with the corners. I have rarely seen a referee that gets on the wrestlers and enforces that, get the man out of the corner, get off the top rope, all of that good stuff. Like, it's the little things that he does so well. And I don't know if it was you. I know from where I was sitting, I could kind of hear what was going on in the back. I know he was talking to somebody. He was having an extended conversation with somebody yesterday about those very things. And you have to have the presence, and you have to make sure that you're in control of everything and all that. I don't know if that was you he was talking to or who that was. but I know he was teaching somebody that last night.
Don't know if that was me, but then again, like there's so much that like I have to know, and I was constantly running around back there, like if I wasn't out there in the ring. But yeah, that's the very first thing that he taught me was like you have to follow the rules, and other, you know, also adding on to that, call it like a shoot. You know, he taught me like if they don't kick out on time, that's on them. If they're outside of the ring for too long and you count to 10 and you gotta, you know, call the match, that's on them. And also, like you said, if I turn around, I see a low blow, yeah, I gotta call it. Like that's the very first thing that he taught me is don't be afraid to, you know, call it as you see it.
Yep. All right, Mike, I got like 3 comments and a question from people watching. Yeah, so first is Greg Thundercat Winners from down in Alabama. He says, sweet, referees are very helpful to the workers in the ring, a key component to every match.
Another
Thank
great
you, Greg. I appreciate your words.
Michelle says, Mike, you're awesome. I had to log in and subscribe to Alan Keith's channel. Thank you for the subscription, Michelle. It's about time.
Yeah,
welcome aboard. Yeah, where you been?
Thank you,
and
Michelle.
And that's how awesome you are.
I'm hurt now.
She specifically subscribed to our channel to watch you tonight. That's what she's saying there.
Yeah.
I don't hear or get that very often, so like definitely Michelle, thank you, and I appreciate you very, very much.
Andy says Zach Carlucci needs a trophy. He is in the SWO Hall of Fame, right? I'm pretty sure he is, because when Wolfman was naming off, he was rattling off the people who were in the Hall of Fame. Zach Carlucci was one of those names. Professor Who? Wow.
Okay. I see how it is.
That's just mean.
Okay. Yes, he is. There he is. Zach. What's up, Zach?
Hey, there he is.
He is in the SWO Hall of Fame, and deservedly so, sir. Thanks for joining us tonight and supporting your fellow referee.
Shout out, Zach.
Yeah. I got a question here from Chris. I got a question here, Mike, from Chris Vant. He says, have you disqualified any guys from matches? And what I think he means by that, because I'm sure you have. Have you had to, even though it might not have been in the plans, but you had no choice?
Yeah, I think that's happened a time or two. I'm almost certain that's happened a time or two. But like I don't remember there being like any heat or anything. And it hasn't happened often, but yeah, it has happened a time or two. Hey, Zach.
Mike, you just brought out the largest number of live viewers they've ever had on their channel. Wow. That is not true.
He doesn't know.
I'm not going to name drop. I'm not going to name drop Michelle, but that is not true. But
you don't know our you don't know what's going on.
You don't know our demo.
Yeah.
Okay. She has a question though. Who would be a perfect match for you to wrestle? Other than last night,
like me as if I was in there wrestling competitor.
Clarify that question. Is it like where he's a wrestler or he's refereeing?
Yeah.
Refereeing.
And that's something I was going to ask about too, because originally you trained as a wrestler and you kind of fell into refereeing. Do you still have an aspiration to maybe actually start wrestling to do the transition, or are you pretty happy with the refereeing?
I've thought about it. I'm a little still on the fence, but honestly, I'm really enjoying reffing and where it's taking me. But yeah, I think if the stars aligned, I'd definitely start training again and try and go a little bit further.
Michelle meant as a referee. Who would be the perfect match for you to referee?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
We talking like, SWO. I'm not trying to get too specific, but
no, but I mean, a lot of times Keith and I, we don't do it all the time, but sometimes we do like a dream match segment where somebody's on that, is just starting in the business and has aspirations of maybe getting paid to do this for a living, where they end up in AAW or WWE or wherever. And we say, before it's all said and done, is there that one dream match that you would like to have for a referee, I would ask, is there a dream match you'd like to referee? Or, I mean,
Ooh.
anybody. I mean, you know, like, would you like to referee like just one match at WrestleMania? Like something like that. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So if we're gonna go that route, I would love to. If I could have things my way, a match I would love to ref, a dream match would be Rock versus Roman. I would love to ref that.
Wow.
Like I'd give my left arm to ref that.
Shoot for the stars. Greg says, I had a new referee last night trying to give me a 5 count while I was using a step over toe hold, and my opponent was nowhere near the ropes.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Growing
Yeah,
pains,
that's
right?
no
I
bueno.
mean,
That's still within the rule book. Step over toe hold, there's a
Yeah.
submission hold, and yeah, they weren't anywhere near the ropes. So I don't.
me, the Daniel Bryan 2.0. Yeah, he kind of is. He kind of is. We compare him a lot. His name is Greg Winters, but his wrestling name is Thundercat or the Thundercat or the Spartan or Greg the Thundercat. And we compare him. He's been in the business now 17, 18 years. And
Oh wow.
and he comes on here all the time and he loves to give advice to young guys. So ask him anything. And actually, after this show is over, I would friend him on Facebook if I were you. Because he's very giving of his time and his advice. And we love him for that. But we often
Greg,
compare.
you got any advice for inspiring referee who's 2 years in and definitely wants to keep going on the journey and is hungry to learn? So like anything, I'd be open to any advice.
And he will give it. And we often compare him. We often compare him to Daniel Bryan. That's why he said that. We because he reminds me of him in his stature and his move sets. You know what I'm saying? Like he's very animated too. Like I've seen a bunch of his matches. He sends me his matches all the time. Michelle's back. She's like, haha, your fantasy match to wrestle. That's a whole different question.
Ooh. All right. Fantasy match to wrestle. That's easy. I would love to face Jeff Hardy in a ladder match.
You want to face like the king of ladder matches in a ladder match?
Why not? He was one of my he was one of my huge inspirations. One of the reasons why I wanted to start training. Like I especially in my teenage years when he started breaking out, going solo. Like I was very big fan.
I want to go back to Keith's question. He did ask you, and we got kind of sidetracked with all the comments, but he did ask you.
I apologize.
No. It was, I want to get when they come in. I want to get them in. I want to show you you're getting a lot of love and attention, which is awesome.
And it helps the show too, because sometimes it inspires questions and it inspires different avenues of discussion.
Keith's question was, do you have aspirations to wrestle instead of referee? Is the fire still there? Or are you just happy to wrestle?
Still there, yeah. I'd say the fire's still there. At some point before I'm through, I definitely would like to, give wrestling another try again.
But in the meantime, you're just happy doing what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. I wouldn't say complacent, but I'm definitely learning, a lot through refereeing too. It's like a whole nother aspect and like looking through with a whole new, set of glasses in essence.
Earlier in the show, you mentioned that the SWO faithful love to get on your case. How do you feel about that first? And also, why do you feel they get on your case?
Honestly, how I feel about it, they pay the price of admission. They're in there. And honestly, as long as they're, booing, cheering, having a good time, that's all that matters to me. And honestly, I think they got on my case there a lot and still do in the beginning because, like I said, I'm still, learning the whole refereeing aspect. I've been doing it 2 years, but like finally starting to, stand on my own 2 feet, proverbially. But I think that's why at first, you could really tell that I was kind of green out there at first. And I think it showed, I think it translated, but I think after doing it for 2 years, like there's still far, I still got far to go. I still got a lot to learn, but I think I'm finally starting to stand on my own 2 feet and wade in the water a little bit.
Talk about getting razzed by the fans. I got razzed by the fans last
Oh
night.
yeah.
There was fans in the front row that gave me a hard time about the way I said Lancaster, because I was saying it Lancaster. I was saying Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and it's
We're from
Lancaster.
Jersey. We do
It's
that.
Lancaster, right? But I apologize to the folks from Lancaster because it's Lancaster.
Don't
And
feel bad. I had the same problem in the beginning because I'm also from upstate New York, and on top of that, both sides of my family are from Long Island, so it's like, I kind of had to learn how they say it at first, but like,
yeah,
don't
it's Lancaster.
feel bad.
I'll
I had
never
the
make that
same
mistake
problem.
again. Like, when God forbid I ever ring announce in Lancaster and I say it wrong there. Okay, that's instant heat by everybody in the room.
We'll never make it out alive.
But anyway, and then another guy. There was guys in the front row that I wasn't going up the ring steps fast enough for them. So they were like, "Are you okay? Do you need a drink of water? Do you need a nap?" Like, and I was just smirking, and you just move on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
move on.
you take it in stride, you shrug it off, and
It's all
trust
good.
me, I've heard it for 2 years. They were like riding me, but like, I've noticed over the last couple of shows, I'm starting to hear a little bit more positive feedback, and that makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm, kind of doing my job right in a sense,
And honest with you, from where I saw you, like my first SWO show was like about a year ago to where you are now. You seem to, picking up things each time you do it. And of course, picking Carlucci's brain, that helps. But I mean, other guys, wrestlers are probably adding some stuff to you too. Other referees, some of the vet stars come in, you could pick their brains as well. Guys like Mean Mark, you could pick his brain as well. There's all different guys in the back that are willing to help you along in your journey. And the referee you were deserving getting booed a year ago, where now I don't think it's as warranted as it was.
Oh yeah, like I was saying, I was still, learning and trying to stand on my own 2 feet. But honestly, like going back to what you were saying, like that's the goal, to pick something up and apply it every time I go out there, and to just keep learning and keep learning and keep learning. Like, I don't care if I wind up being in the business like 25, 30 years. I'm still going to pick brains. I'm still going to try and, pick something new, apply it, and, just kind of move on and go forward from there.
That's the biggest thing that Keith and I have learned in our journey so far, as what we're doing, is by just constantly learn. Like, we constantly learn. We can never sit here and think that we know what we're doing, because we don't. We just keep moving forward and learning from our mistakes and just get better. I got a bunch more comments in here, Mike, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
I would
Greg,
want everybody to what I do on play-by-play commentary, because I guarantee you I can do it better, and I'm my own worst critic. I almost always think everything I did sucks, and then I'm like, wait, no, people like this? You said it's good? Because I just look at all the times I repeat myself, or, I wish I would have used this word instead of this word, and I'm bad. I'm bad with that.
Oh, I'm the same way. Like, I watch stuff back, I pick myself apart. It's bad.
All right, let me get this book in here. It's going to cover you up, Mike. I apologize. Absolutely, I love this business, and any help I can give, I will. My advice to you is keep working hard, commit to your counting, and make sure that you follow the competitors in the ring. There will be times where you'll need to look like the dumb referee, but that is a part of the role. And other times you need to be as strict and loud with your counts.
Which Zach is great for. That's a great one to ask Zach about, because he's always strict and loud and vocal.
Michelle,
like I said, that's how I've been modeling myself, is after Zach Carlucci.
Yep.
And that's a great model, man. Respect for understanding that still always learning is not failing. I love the positivity. Motorman's back, definitely improving and doing his job, and appreciate Mike's effort, but I still got to razz him. Old tricks die hard for us old dogs.
I'd expect nothing less from you, David.
Greg says, if you ever think that you're at a point where you aren't learning anything in this business, it's time to hang up the boots.
I agree, and that's also another thing that Carlucci, kind of taught me and instilled is, always keep growing, keep learning. And, you know, I've also just heard that from people in the back and everything that, like, you know, if you get to a point where you think you're not learning, then yeah, get out. It's time to hang them up.
Now you're pretty you would consider yourself a close friend to Zach Carlucci, right?
By this point, yeah, I honestly consider him, like, when it comes to refereeing in the wrestling business, I consider him my mentor.
The reason why I ask you that is, can you, for the love of God, explain to me and Keith why the guy's wrestling?
No idea.
I
support him in everything that he does.
Ken Andrews.
He's going to save us from Ken Andrews. Yeah,
that's the hope. I mean, I know you're probably, you know, under the table. You're his secret crooked ring announcer, knowing you, I'm sure. But for the rest of us, Ken Andrews,
crooked ring announcer,
save the SWO.
Just because of what I say on commentary doesn't mean what kind of ring announcer I am.
I'm just saying, watching you.
Okay. So when you are calling, so far in your, what you said, 2 years in,
yeah,
is there a match that stuck out to you that was either extremely difficult for you to call, meaning like it was just so out of control it was really hard for you to call, or like one where when you went to the back you're like, oh my God, I don't even know what the heck happened out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One that stands out.
There have been a couple that stood out. Like I struggle with 6-man tags and like scramble type matches, because there's just so many people. You know, there's only one of you, and you got action going on outside of the ring, inside, and you just got to have like eyes in the back of your head, side of your head, top, bottom, front, and like I'd say, even though I'm comfortable with them now, like they definitely still give me some trouble.
Zach Carlucci is the hero we didn't need, or we didn't know we needed.
True.
We are lucky to have him.
That is true.
I agree 1,000%. I agree.
He's taken on Ken Andrews for ownership of the company, huh?
Yeah. I was out there last night, and yeah, when that got announced, I just kind of looked over at the other referees. I was wide-eyed. I was like, did I just hear that correctly? And honestly, I'm rooting for you 1,010%, Zach. Like, I hope you find a way to beat Ken Andrews and get ownership of the SWO.
There's an SWO fan singing your praises. You were awesome last night. There you go.
Oh, well, thank you, David. I appreciate the kind words and all the support. It really does mean a lot more than you think, especially, only doing this 2 years. And, like you said, last year, I was being almost booed out the building, and now I'm starting to hear like more positive feedback, and I'm starting to hear a lot more kind words from fans and people when I'm walking out there during intermission now, and it's really making me feel good.
He says, "Thanks, brother. I'll try my best." That's Zach Carlucci.
That's all we can ask of you, brother. That's all we can ask of you.
When he was on with us, and correct me if I'm wrong, Professor, that was sometime last year, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, maybe.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
He was just so humble, for a guy who has so much respect in this business. He was just so humble. From all the lessons you've learned from him, have you learned that lesson too about, just being humble and being appreciative of where you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. I am so appreciative of that. And I don't mean to keep going back to it, but like I said, where I was a year ago to now, and how I'm, having fans, come up, compliment me, want photos with me and everything else like that. Like, not to sound like negative, but like, I never looked at myself as that kind of person,
right?
So like, it's very eye-opening that, people are coming up to me and singing my praises and, wanting photos, wanting me to sign stuff and, just kind of talking to me and, just being friendly and being kind, and it really just I'm so humble. Like I almost can't find the words to really like express it, you know.
Thundercat says if Zach wins, maybe I'll get booked soon.
Ryan.
He wants so
Well,
bad to
if
come
that
up to
happens, I'll
Pennsylvania.
put in a word.
All right, 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Keith, talk to him.
All right. Oh, let's see. David Hilton here. I don't have control over the comments, I don't think, but he's saying he hopes you're the ref for Zach's match against Ken. That's the only thing about putting Zach over so much, right? Hopefully Ken Andrews doesn't see this, because I feel like he's going to try to stack that deck as much as he can.
Oh, I'm expecting it, honestly. I'm really expecting it, especially with the history that those two have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of expecting it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, I wouldn't put it past Ken to have something up his sleeve, you know?
Yeah, maybe even try to call in a special referee. I know he said everybody on the SWO roster is out there to be lumberjacks, but you wonder between now and then how many guys is Ken Andrews going to try to promote or maybe put in human resources or any other tricky that he's got up his sleeve to stack the deck and make sure those lumberjacks are on his side.
He's got the power to do it too. So like I said before, I really wouldn't be surprised, and there's a part of me that's expecting it, really. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he had something up his sleeve.
Keith, you covered David's comment about Zach being the ref, or that Mike might be the referee in that match.
I'm hoping. I mean, even if I do get it, I'm still going to call it right down the middle.
Yep, I know Zach would
compromise integrity.
And see, that the kind of thing. The thing of the matter is that, you know, no offense to you, but any referee is going to any referee in that match is going to automatically, you know, have that paintbrushed all over them, that they're going to be sympathetic to the referee in the match, to the other referee, to the guy, their mentor. So I mean, because Bill looks up to him, and Rob looks up to him, and you look up to him. So any referee they put in that match is going to automatically be in that, you know, category of,
unless Ken tries to reach outside the company, which I wouldn't put past him.
Right, and you know, they might need to do that. They for that match, you know, that might be an idea. If Nate, if you're watching, that might be an idea. And Zach, if you're watching, that might be I know you're watching. That might be an idea to have a special guest referee, whether it be an actual referee, you know, a famous referee, like, you know, or whether it be a superstar and somebody, but you might need a special guest referee. Maybe it should be you, Professor.
I don't have the requisite training for such a thing.
I have all the faith in Zach Carlucci. What would Zach Carlucci do? Yeah.
Yep.
Same. I feel the exact same way, Michelle.
Have a special referee isn't my call. Yeah, I know. We realize that, but it's an idea. It's an idea. It's something. But anyway, I can't wait for that match. I'll definitely love to see what is that date? That match takes place. Is that
April
on the 15th? April 15th.
April 15th. Yes.
That's the 15th. Yes. The next
April 15th in Seven Valleys. Seven Valleys. Our next SWO event, April the 15th in Seven Valleys. Greg. I'm going to ask a juicy question now, right? Just for some fun, Michael. All right. So forgive me for this question. And you don't have to drop the name, but have you ever in your 2 years in gotten genuine real heat with somebody in the back because of something you did during their match? And if so, how did you deal with that? And you don't have to name the name because I don't want the heat to come back.
I mean, not to my knowledge.
No.
I don't think I've had legit heat with anybody. I mean, like I said, if there is, it hasn't been brought to my attention. Right. So like I'm unaware of it. But yeah, that's really all I can say for now, is not to my knowledge.
So are you aware of making sure like that doesn't happen? Like, is that in the back of your mind when you're calling these matches, when you're in the ring, when you're trying to do your job? And have you ever given that any thought?
I mean, I think it's kind of natural to give it that thought, but also at the same time, it's like what we were talking about at the beginning of the broadcast. Like if I see something, I got to call it. If someone doesn't kick out, I got to call it. If they're on the outside of the ring and I get to 10, I got to call it. I got to call it as I see it and work it like a shoot.
I got to get this comment in because we kind of skipped over it with all those other comments. David Motorman says, Mike can do a run-in to protect Zach. I'll even cheer. The problem with that is, David, is Mike will be putting his career in jeopardy.
I was going to say, with that, that's one of those, if you're going to shoot at the king, you better make sure you kill him, because you interfere and somehow Ken Andrews winds up winning. We all know Ken Andrews is going to take revenge on any single person that he thinks wasn't on his side or tried to put him out. I mean, that's going to be the danger here. And that's going to be a problem for Zach Carlucci too. You're on the outside. You're a lumberjack in that. You really have to be careful because, again, Ken Andrews, yes, we know Zach Carlucci's fired if he loses that match. But think about it. If you're involved in that match in any way, if Ken Andrews were to win, we know what a vengeful, spiteful person Ken Andrews is. He's going to take a look at every single person that was out there. He's going to analyze everything to death. And anybody he thinks was even a little bit disloyal is probably going to be on the unemployment line with Zach Carlucci. It's a dangerous, dangerous situation for everybody.
Of course. It's literally like walking a razor's edge. Like, it's definitely a tough spot to be in. You're not wrong, because like you said, even the slightest involvement could literally mean your career is on the line.
At this time, I would like to state, Mr. Andrews, that the opinions of the professor do not reflect the opinions of me or Around the Turnbuckle as a whole. I thank you very much for the opportunities. I thank you very much for the opportunities I've been afforded and continue to enjoy working with you, sir. Thank you very much for your leadership.
Not crooked in the least. Not at all. But again, in Al's defense, right, we just said Ken Andrews is a guy that spies on everything, pays attention to everything, and even the littlest bit of difference of opinion or disloyalty, he's going to punish you in some way. He's either going to fire you or he's going to limit your opportunities like he's been doing to Wolfman. I mean, we know Wolfman wanted to quit rather than work under him. And he said, oh, no, I'm not going to let you quit. I'm just going to humiliate you and destroy you and, pay off your tag partner to turn on you and everything else.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Prince Piranha's here. He says we would have won last night if Zach wasn't wrestling.
Ouch.
Does he mean if he was refereeing the match?
I think he does.
So wait,
yep, I'm almost certain.
Were you refereeing that match?
Yes.
I
did have the Prince Piranha, Adrian Bliss versus Ace Dallas and Sunny Kiss match.
So let me tell you that. Let me tell you that I'm still kind of shook up by being felt up by the sexy psycho Adrian Bliss during the ring announcing. But anyway,
it made you ask some questions about yourself, didn't it?
It kind of did, yes. But anyway, that aside. Let's talk about that match, Mike, because you were the referee and Prince Piranha's here, so you can address him directly. How'd you feel that match went?
I felt it went pretty well. Like I said, I called everything like I saw it. I mean, unfortunately, biting is not within the rule book, so yeah, I kind of had to get on him on that quite a bit. But it was a clean victory. There was the 540 kick from Sunny to Bliss. It was a 3 count, no kick out. He was out down for the count.
Yeah, there was a little chaos there, though.
I love Piranha and I love Bliss, but you know what? I would probably never want to referee a match that they're involved in because you kind of have to walk that line between, okay, they're a little different and we've got to accommodate for that, but we can't let them go so far that we're, out in no man's land where there's no rules, there's no disqualifications or anything. And I mean, the issue between Prince Piranha and the almighty Reverend Ace Dallas has gotten so personal, so beyond personal at this point.
Yes, it definitely has.
Mike, I have a question about that match.
Yes.
In a moment that'll probably live in SWO infamy forever. There was a moment there where Prince Piranha and Adrian Bliss both bit with their teeth Sonny Kiss. Why was there not a 5 count started when they were both biting him in the posterior?
I think it was just shock, a little confusion, and just out of somewhere and all that chaos, I restarted the count. Like, trust me, I had noticed that last night on the way back to the hotel. I had, kind of beat myself up over that a little bit.
Come on, Al. He literally spelled out like a poop emoji. Okay. All right.
I've got the easy job. Everybody loves the babyface play-by-play announcer.
Yeah, it's all good. But anyway, so, whoa, he said he saw Jello. Keith started laughing before. That's the reason why he bit. That's the reason why he bit. He saw Jello. Okay. Well, I mean, when you see Jello, there's always room for Jello, right?
Yeah, there's always room for Jello.
I guess you're not wrong.
Oh my God! I believe that's going to be the SWO highlight reel, like forever. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it kind of.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was sitting at the timekeeper's table, and the people there were all like, "What the hell? What is going on?"
That was my reaction too. Like,
yeah.
I had never seen anything like that.
Yellow and fish.
I think I heard a few people behind the curtain go, "Damn!"
It was something else.
Like, whoa, we hired Ron Simmons. What's happening right now?
But like I said, in my 2 years of reffing, I had never seen anything like that before.
Yeah. It was something. It was something else. But anyway, what does the future hold for you, man? Like in your mind, obviously you have a job, you work, you pay bills, you're a young adult, you have the future's ahead of you. Your future's bright. You can do whatever you want. But as far as professional wrestling goes, what are your goals and what do you want to accomplish with professional wrestling? What do you want professional wrestling to do for you as well as what you do for it?
Well, honestly, man, I got into the business same reason anybody gets into the business. You want to make it all the way to the top, whether you're wrestling, whether you're reffing. If you don't want to make it all the way to the top and get your name out there and branch out, like, well, why are you doing it? Mm-hmm. And basically, like, I just want to get as much knowledge and just in general, just get as much out of the business as I can. And then once I get to that point, I want to give back to the business, just kind of pay it forward the same way, everybody else is helping me. I hope at some point I'm like Zach Carlucci status, that people do look up to me, that they will come to me for advice, that they will pick my brain and, ask how I would go about things. And, so that's basically what I want to do. I want to continue to branch out, get my name out there. Obviously still work for SWO. I consider them my home. I've learned a lot there. Everybody there has helped me not just grow as a referee, they've helped me grow and mature as a person too. Because like pro wrestling off the table, like I learned things from every single person back there, whether they realize it or not. Like, I'm taking things away and they're helping me grow and gain my confidence, not just in wrestling, but just like in life and as a person too. Like I have so much love for every single person back there in that SWO locker room, as well as the SWO faithful. Like I can't express it enough.
2 years in the business, if you could go back and give your 2 years ago advice version of yourself, what would you say to him?
Don't let the nerves take over. Don't get in your own head and don't psych yourself out, because I did that numerous times, and I think that's also what kind of showed in the beginning too. You know, it's just, you know, go out there, use what you learned, and don't be afraid to pick up anymore. Don't be afraid of the constructive criticism. Don't be afraid to hear, hey, you made a mistake, but here's how you can correct it. You know, like you can't be afraid of, you know, of learning. You can't be afraid of growing, because if you're afraid of learning and you're afraid of growing, you're only doing yourself a disservice.
Right. All right, man, I got one more question. I love asking this question, and it's pretty random. Okay. But in your mind, in your own personal opinion, the greatest wrestling match you've ever watched was?
Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart. It's a perfect match in my opinion.
It still goes back to that.
What's up?
It still goes back to that.
Oh yeah, it still goes back to that. Hook, line, and sinker. That's my favorite match out there in existence. And like I said, at least to me, it had a little bit of everything. And you also got to remember that was the double turn. So like it was preying on your emotions. Like even me as a little kid, like I went into that match a huge Bret Hart fan. And then when I saw him, you know, kicking the crap out of Stone Cold after he had already, you know, won the match, he was passed out, and Ken Shamrock had to, you know, get involved in everything. It's like, wow, that's not the Bret that I know.
Right.
And that's how I started becoming a Stone Cold fan. I got that sympathy for him there. And then, like, you know, just watching throughout the years, like, he was just that badass figure. And, like, he just captivated you. Like, he was a great performer.
Michael, that match will always be remembered as the match that made Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah. Because at the end of that match, because Bret Hart won the match, right? That was the one where he had him in the sharpshooter, the iconic blood running in the face down into his mouth.
Dripping right down.
And he passed out from the pain. He didn't actually tap. He passed out from the pain.
Yep.
At the end of that match, Bret Hart was booed. Like, and Stone Cold Steve Austin was cheered. And then the next night on Raw, everybody's got an Austin 316, you know, sign up. Yeah. And they're like, okay,
sign, shirt. It was everywhere.
Right. It made Stone Cold Steve Austin. So that's a great match that you have that's a great pick. I'm gonna get these last minute comments in. ABJ's in the house, Professor. Hey, ABJ, what's up? What's up, wrestling fam? You can check out his podcast on YouTube and Spotify and everywhere else. ABJ,
absolutely,
fellow wrestling podcaster. What?
Definitely will.
Yeah,
I said absolutely. You should do that.
Nice match, double turn, perfect. He's talking about the one we just talked about. Michelle said, "Hey,
that match is a work of art."
Michelle said, "Hey, Mike, how was your first live podcast?" Face red heart shape. Oh,
I think something's wrong with the
emojis are coming out spread there. Yeah. Okay. So
not doing the actual.
I'll be honest. I was a little nervous, you know, especially when, you know, I was getting everything set up, getting connected with you guys. Like the heart was pumping at first, but after like the second, third question, I just felt very comfortable. You know, I'm sitting here, I'm talking pro wrestling. Like what's better than that?
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing, Mike. I appreciate you, brother.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me, man. I
glad they weren't not mean.
Thank you so much.
Glad we weren't mean to you. Are we mean to people, Professor? I don't remember us being mean to anybody.
No, they were not mean at all. Not at all. I have no idea what she's talking about.
I don't either.
Piranha, can't wait to see you again, Mike. Take care. Great interview, man. Thanks for showing up, Piranha. We love you.
Can't wait to see you again either, Piranha. Take care, buddy.
I'm ready for my third ATMT podcast. Send me a message, Greg. Send me a message, Greg. All right. April 16th is available.
I had a great time tonight, guys. I had a great time talking with you guys. Thank you guys again for you know, having me on, you know, putting my name out there. And just kind of picking my brain and seeing what rattles around up in there.
Yeah, that's what we
Love
do.
it, man. And we're going
Love
to
to do
follow
it.
you. Obviously, you know, I'm going to continue to ring announce. I'll be right there with you in SWO, and we'll keep in contact. And maybe we'll do this again 6 months or a year down the road, see where you're at. Maybe by that
Definitely. I
time, the
love it.
fire, by that time, the fire that's inside you will turn into a bonfire and you want to wrestle again. Who knows what happens
That's
a year
true.
from now, right? So, we'll definitely keep track of you, brother. And just, we want to wish you the best of luck in everything you do. And we're always here if you need us for anything.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you, Big Al. Thank you, Professor Keith. And yeah, anytime you guys want to have me on again, just let me know, and I'll make the time.
Awesome.
All right, Mike, don't go anywhere when we go off the air, okay?
All right, sounds
Professor, you got any parting gifts?
As always, thank you for your time, Mike. It was a great hour. It was a great interview. Very fun. Nice to have somebody that kind of comes from my era a little bit, instead of, you know, John Cena got me into the business and stuff, and then I go, oh, I'm old.
Oh yeah, I mean,
It sucks.
like I said, when I was growing up, I remember my first two favorite wrestlers ever being Bret Hart, Razor Ramon. You know.
Awesome, guys. Mike, you were great. You were awesome. You were very forthcoming. You had a lot of support. I want to thank everybody that chimed in. Piranha, Ace Dallas, Dave Motorman, Greg, all you guys, Chris, Michelle, thanks for subscribing. ABJ was in the house. That's pretty cool. Before we go off the air, I want to say down at the bottom of your screen, been scrolling the entire time. This Saturday in Quakertown, the professor and I will be commentating 3WA's big event, Monsters Collide, featuring Demetrius Arion versus the Barbarian from the Powers of Pain. So that should be awesome. That should be an epic clash. Epic clash in Q-Mart. So get your tickets by calling. Oh man, I just forgot the number off the top of my head. It just popped in there.
215.
It's coming.
7184.
There it is. 215-362-7184. Doors open at 6. Bell times at 7. Demetrius Arion versus the Barbarian. Next Sunday, Professor, we have the return of Attilio April from New York.
Yes, very
Our
nice.
boy. He's coming back, and he's got a lot on his mind, and I can't wait to pick it and find out what's going on since the last time we saw him about a year ago. Told you, Mike, this is what we do. We get you back every year, and we see how far you're going. So I can't wait to talk to Attilio, see what's up there in New York and the New York wrestling area, the New York wrestling fans up there. Different bunch up there, so want to see what's going on there. I got time for one last comment, and that is, Greg, I enjoyed the interview. We always enjoy you,
Greg.
brother.
Yeah.
I
All
enjoyed
right.
your comments, your advice, and I'll definitely send you a friend request when we're done.
There it is. For the professor and referee Michael Rodriguez, I'm the Big Al Boski. This was Around the Turnbuckle. We'll see you next Sunday.
You think you know me?